So imagine that you're standing in front of a crowd, and when you look out, all you see are just eager, smiling faces who are rooting for you and they want you to be successful, and they don't even care if you do it imperfectly. In fact, they find you way more relatable and charming when you're imperfect. Your imperfections make you real. And you're cool with that. When you walk off stage, you're just flooded with a sense of confidence and you're like on fire. You cannot wait to get out there and do it again. Well, if you're watching this video and you feel nowhere near that reality right now, in fact, speaking in front of people makes you feel anxious or vulnerable or exposed, then we're going to take care of that in this video. So how can you make peace with putting yourself out into the public eye more because you feel a call to? You know you're supposed to be sharing some kind of story, some kind of message, like putting your offers or services out in the world to make the world a better place, but you are terrified of being seen. I want to walk you through a process that's really going to be helpful with this. Before we do anything, let's just start by getting you out of your head and dropping you back into your heart around this issue. We are actually very malleable, but it's so much easier to move around our rigidity and our resistance when we're coming from a softer place.
Take a moment and ask yourself, what calls me to be seen more? What is your soul wishing to express through you? How is life asking to work through you in a positive, beneficial way? Imagine all of the people impacted by this gift of life working through you, a willing vessel. Taking a moment to feel grateful to be chosen for this role of sharing your heart, your perspective, your offers with the world, because in this moment, you see and feel the impact it will have. And as you zoom out to this broader understanding, you begin to remember and realize how much bigger this calling is than you, how much bigger it is than all of us. You see ripples of light emanating from your heart, coming directly from your soul, the God consciousness within you, weaving its light through the minds, the hearts, and ultimately reaching the souls of so many more people. You see this light reaching far and wide, having so much more impact and benefit than you even know. In this moment, realizing that even the earth, the plants, the animals are all blessed by this high frequency healing light that you allow to transmit through. As you expand your awareness, the fears and doubts that you once felt begin to fade into nothing more than a whisper that gradually evaporate more and more as you effortlessly and gracefully release your focus upon them. From this heart-centered place, those thoughts no longer apply, and they no longer have power over you. Simply by putting aside the story that has kept your light hidden, you bust down the walls around your heart and shine boldly, courageously, and confidently.
Welcome back. So when you're in that activation, you are literally in a completely different reality. And what's wonderful about taking the time to do these practices is that the only way to get outside of the narrative is you have to actually create space from it. You are outside of that old box. You're outside of that old story. Even just for, a minute and a half? If we go back to that crowd analogy, right, where you're out there and you feel on fire and all you see are these like encouraging faces. Well, a lot of people go out on stage and it's probably the exact opposite because life is a mirror and we tend to project what's familiar inside. So if you go out on stage and you feel super anxious and your questions are more like, oh my God, am I doing this right? Oh my God, they probably hate me. And all you see are flat faces that to you look like disinterest or even like disliking you, then somewhere in there, you are judging yourself, right? You are criticizing yourself. And therefore, you're expecting the world to do the same. So something that's really helped me feel very empowered to speak in front of people is I go out there assuming the best. Just assume the best case scenario. Like, why not? Assume that everybody's loving it. Assume that everybody's getting value from it because you know what? This is also principle number 2. learning to trust that those who are receiving your message are perfectly aligned for it. In fact, you can even ask. When I first started on this and I was a little unsure about that, I would just reach out to the universe, and just say, please bring me people who are a perfect aligned fit for my message. And you know what? Even if people come into your sphere who are not a perfect fit, it doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It just means that there's another teacher or guide person out there who has a unique perspective on life that can really get the message in the way that that person needs. Because you've experienced this too, right? Like, you've probably heard the same message on social media 100 times before the right person stumbled across your feed and said everything is always working out for you, and suddenly you were like, wow, it is. Another big piece of this too, the reason why a lot of people hold themselves back, is because you don't see the value in your message. You see all these other people out there in your space saying the same thing or making the same offers that you want to make in the world, and you just assume that there's no place for you. But honey, what I want to remind you is that it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. It's the energy that you bring into the space that matters. The energy is what moves. The energy is what transforms. It's your energy that makes you unique. It's your perspective. It's your story. And believe me, if you feel a call to share or be in service in some way, to help, be in service to something greater than yourself, then that has been given to you for a reason. Not everybody feels that way. In fact, most people don't feel a call to be in service to something greater than themselves. So trust that. When it really comes down to it, I think what people are really running away from is not really just being seen. It's the tidal wave of anxiety and worries that they're avoiding. So what do we do about that? Well, like I said, right, in that second case scenario where we're just projecting an expectation that in everybody's heads they just think the worst of you, start really reflecting on, are you thinking the best about yourself? Are you speaking to yourself with kindness and compassion, with encouragement? Are you believing in yourself? Do you want to see yourself succeed? But probably beyond all of that, the most valuable part is do it for you. Don't even do it for them. Do it for you. When you watch, so that you can watch that video back or read that blog post back or listen to that song and just be like, wow, I get so much out of this. And you know what? That energy, doing it for you, is so contagious. That energy of it alone is healing for other people to be in. Make your feelings and opinions of your performance or your delivery or your outcome mean more to you than the people who read it or heard it or watched it. It's you versus you, right? It's not you out in this big, scary, judgmental world. What if it gets to be easy? What if it gets to be you and yourself in this open, loving, embracing world because you have created a loving and embracing world within yourself? So every time you want to hold yourself back and not make that video or not write that story, I want you to go back to the heart and soul of why you feel a call to this work. Refer back to that activation anytime that you need and recognize that this is really a call to rise. This is really a call to rise into a more empowered and illuminated version of yourself. And as you do that, you're helping everybody else around you who will benefit from your message rise too. So I'll keep it short and sweet today. I really hope that you benefited from this. Definitely drop me a line if you have any questions or responses. And until next time.